Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 4.21. Now in this particular Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is helping us to understand why exactly there is a difference between the Chitta and the Purusha. This sutra is furthering the argument that it is not two Chittas but instead a Chitta and a Purusha. So this sutra helps us to understand why there cannot be a second Chitta that is serving as a Purusha and how we can actually apply a logical reasoning and understanding to this proposition. So let's take a good look at the sutra itself, start breaking it up word by word and understanding it a little bit better. So the sutra itself goes, Chittantara drishye buddhi buddhe rati prasanga smriti sankarascha. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's start breaking it up word by word to understand each of the meanings and take a good look at what it's trying to say to us. So the first word in this particular sutra is Chittantara. So here it's talking about the Chitta as well as the Antara. Now what this Antar basically means is a differentiation or a different one. So when it is saying Chitta Antara, it means different Chittas. So this is the compound word Chittantara and this is the meaning of the word. Now let's go to the next word, which is Drishya. And Drishya, as we have understood even previously, means something that is being perceived. So something that is being seen. So for example, if we're in a movie theater, the Drishya is that which is on the screen. That's what we're observing, and that is sort of like the subject or the creation that is being experienced. Then coming to the next word, we have Buddhi. And Buddhi refers to a certain type of intelligence or cognition process. And then coming to the next one, it's Buddhi and then Buddhe. Buddhera, which is referring essentially to the perceiver, right? So it's said Buddhi, which is the process of cognition, and then it's talking about the person that is, doing that process, the perceiver of that process. And the next word is Ati Prasanga. Now Ati Prasanga is quite a unique word because it's indicating to us that something that is being stretched out indefinitely, right? So it's like when a logic is being taken too far, so far that it's now feeling redundant, that's when it usually means that it's no longer making any sense because we've stretched the logic far beyond its actual boundaries. So that is Ati Prasanga. And then the final word is Smriti, and Smriti refers to memory. So these are all the different words and their meanings and what they stand for. And the last two words that we're left with is Shankarascha. Now here Shankara or Sankara is referring to a mixture, something that causes a lot of confusion because everything is muddled in together. And Cha refers to and. So now when we put all of these things together, what this sutra is trying to tell us is that there is a difference. We cannot assume that there are two different Chittas here because that is taking the logic a bit too far. What we're trying to say is that the process of cognition, the person understanding that process are all Chittas, and therefore it's almost like an inception, right? If the same Chitta is going to perceive everything, understand everything, then who is understanding that Chitta? So it becomes like, for example, if we take Chitta 1, Chitta 1 is the one experiencing the world, understanding it. And then if we take the assumption that within us there is a second Chitta which is understanding the first Chitta, then it becomes like a domino effect, because then the question arises, who then is comprehending this Chitta number 2, right? If Chitta number 2 is comprehending number 1, then is there like a Chitta 3 that is going to comprehend number 2? So these are all like inception type of feelings that arise, and we feel that maybe this is a never-ending process. And so we feel that it does not make sense for there to be two Chittas within a particular body. And that's why the sutra is saying Ati Prasanga, which means this logic would be taking it too far, and that's not the case in within our bodies. We don't have two chittas. There is one chitta, and the element that is perceiving it is the purusha and not another chitta itself. So that is what the sutra is trying to communicate, but it goes a few steps further as well. Now, what it also is trying to tell us is that due to the presence of the karmashaya, we cannot assume that there are two chittas. Because if there are two chittas, that means two storehouses of karma. We know that the karmashaya is attached to the chitta. And in that case, if there are two karmashayas, there would be so much karma, so much karmic memory that the living being would get very confused. There would be multiple, elements of karmic tendencies rising to the surface. These karmic tendencies would take the form of smriti or memory over time. And that memory would come up as a vasana in that person's mind, and he or she would feel like acting accordingly. Now, if there are two karmashayas, that person is going to feel like acting in two different directions. Then in a normal, healthy person, or somebody that is not internally conflicted, that should not be happening. We should ideally be moving in an ekagra direction. The karmashaya should be taking us in a particular direction, and not, we should not feel torn. So one can only imagine that with just one chitta, we already sometimes, feel, should I do A, should I do B, should I do C? We already have conflict, which then through the practice of yoga, we calm down and we remove that conflict and we start to see things very clearly. But at the same time, in case we had two chittas, it would be something totally different. It's already so difficult to handle the memories and the karmashaya of one chitta. We can only imagine if we had two chittas, what would be happening, and the confusion that would ensue. And not only confusion, it would be very detrimental for that body itself, because imagine a body literally being torn in different directions because of conflicting and different memories that are constantly rising to the surface. And then of course there would also be the question of, if there are two chittas here, then who is perceiving these chittas? And it would feel like an inception loop which we would not be able to break. And so understanding all this and looking at Sutra 4.18, 4.19 and 4.20, we can come to the conclusion that clearly the two elements that's within each human being are not two chittas, but it is one chitta or one prakritic element and one purusha. And therefore we understand the purusha is inherently different from the prakritic realm, from the chitta, and this purusha is the one that is immutable, that is observing, that is serving as a witness principle. And because that purusha is stopping the chain of inception of the chitta, that purusha is like the full stop. There need not be any further cognizers, etc. As the purusha is the one taking the final bird's eye view and having that final understanding and witness principle in this entire process. So that is what the sutra is about. It's helping us to understand the presence of the purusha and why it is definitely the purusha and not another chitta. So I hope this video has been helpful to you and you've been able to understand it further. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. If you think this video is useful and will help other people, please also share this video with your friends and family and anybody else that might benefit from it. If you're interested in joining our classes, courses and workshops, then please do sign up on the link that is in the description, and we would absolutely love to see you in class. Until then, take care of yourselves, keep practicing, keep studying the Yoga Sutras, and we're going to see you in the next one. Namaste.